He said, I literally did 500 for 3 today with ease. No, I mean, like, I'm not gaining weight. That would translate to strength output I've been having. I'm not eating enough. Some days I don't eat shit. Then the next day I PR. And I was like, you know, getting kind of excited at the time. I was like, well, what's up guys, Derek, moreplacemordates.com. Today we're going to be doing an update on Turkesterone. So this is the hyped up product, which wasn't really hyped up, even though some people seem to think it was. It was a video, I did one video on it and basically elaborated on how I thought it had a lot of promise. I didn't think there was a lot of hype around it before I guess I made the video, but I guess it created a decent amount of hype. It sold out like overnight, which was kind of crazy. I was not expecting that. I was not expecting this many people to want to experiment, you know, alongside me and figure out if this stuff does anything. So anyways, if you haven't watched that video, I recommend you watch, put a card up in the corner. It's called, I'm going back on steroids. And then I basically talk about how I'm using a ecdy steroid. It's called Turkesterone. And the way we, made it specifically is standardized to 10% Turkesterone. However, we also complexed it with something called hydroxypropyl-β-cyclodextrin, which is a way to hopefully significantly improve the bioavailability. Now, as far as how well it works, I do recommend you watch the first video because this is going to make no sense to you if you don't watch the first one, if you're tuning into this for the first time. But basically, I elaborate on its proposed mechanism of action through estrogen receptor beta. I compared it to other anabolics in rodent models and actually compared it to ecdysterone, which is the most notable and prominent of the ecdy steroids and probably has the most biggest reputation, I guess. And that one also seems to work better when it's complex with hydroxypropyl-β-cyclodextrin as well, notably. And then, you know, there was in the data, it wasn't implied, it literally showed that Turkesterone was stronger than Dianabol, which is kind of impossible to believe. Like I didn't think it would be anywhere fucking close. And I've seen it in practical application of people using straight up Turkesterone at the right standardization. Like obviously the guys who are using the weak shit, that's just like a straight up like raw plant. They're not really getting the raw powder, I should say. They're not getting the benefits because the extract is not standardized to a high enough percentage for it to be, you know, yielding the amount of Turkesterone they actually need. So anyways, this is, you know, 10% is kind of like, of the companies that are making it, I guess it's the gold standard, and then complexing it to increase bioavailability. This is as close to representing the clinical data as you would get in humans. And well, I guess the data on rodents isn't even using a standardization. Notably, it's just raw, and then it's not complexing it either. So this should, in theory, be potentially even better. But anyways, that's a rodent model. It's not necessarily applicable to humans, so that's sort of where my interest was piqued, because if you have anabolic activity induced through estrogen receptor beta, it's not through the androgen receptor. It's not something that is going to have deleterious outcomes to your hair, notably. That's like the thing that, you know, mattered to me the most, as well as, and that maybe that's, you know, silly to some people, but for me, you know, something that can replicate or at least slap on another few pounds of lean tissue potentially that is not going to exhibit any androgenicity. It's going to be potentially safe for women. It's not going to have viralization, masculinization outcomes, and it's going to have some level of compounding effect of that is through a totally separate vector than your endogenous testosterone production. It's something definitely worth evaluating, even for natties, because it's like something that is not going to have these same, you know, like negative feedback outcomes of a AR agonist, traditionally like a SARM or a oral steroid or whatever the fuck. So anyways, we finally got it in, and it's been part of my protocol now. I've been eating in a deficit for so long though, that it was like, for me, part of this is an excuse for me to eat more, because I've been like basically not starving myself, but like severely limiting how much I eat for a couple of years now at this point, and I wanted to just like gain some weight and eat some food. So I increased my calorie intake, and like expectedly my weight went up very, very quickly. So I'm not attributing it to this at all. My strength is up, my weight is up a lot, but my food is also up, and I have not been, I'm still on HRT. It's not like that is like pulled out for me to experiment with this in some, like you could, I would say it's controlled in the fact that there is no contraindicating compounds that would enhance the anabolic activity. However, there is more food. So it's like my results are not necessarily as indicative of somebody who is having no factors change, like straight up the same diet model. Like ideally you would eat in a slight surplus if you wanted to gain as much muscle as possible, in my opinion, with anything anabolic related to make the most of it. But obviously, if you add something on to a current diet model that is at least sufficient enough micro and macronutrients to build tissue, adding something on top of it, you should see some notable difference in sub capacity. So for me, it's a bit harder to differentiate between what is actually going on. I think I'll have a better idea once I'm like done my bulk, which is really just me saying, I want to eat more food so I can focus more on work and be more satiated and not be slamming, meal replacement type, I don't know, like artificial sugar filled, like diet pops and shit like that to like satiate me while I'm working and whatnot. So yeah, like for me, it is, there's a whole bunch of people that have been trying this though. So it's great that I have more, anecdotes rather than just my own, because again, like ideally I would have liked to just like keep my calories at straight up like 3,000, not change anything and just add it in, seeing what happens. But for the others, we had like I said, we sold out like overnight, which was just baffling to me, and promising obviously, because we get a lot of feedback and we can figure out if it's worth reordering. So to give you a spoiler alert, it is enough people had decent enough results that it was worth reordering. So it's going to be back in stock whenever this video is published, but I recommend you listen before you go buy it, because it might be underwhelming for you, whatever you're looking for. So like, be aware of that. This is not D-ball, despite the fact that the rodent models make it seem like it's better than that. I think we were all expecting it was not going to be as good as D-ball. We were hoping it would be at least if it was even 1/10 as effective as D-ball, and it wasn't going to be an AR agonist or a traditional anabolic steroid. I think we would all be quite happy, and like I would be fucking happy too. So as far as the first athletes that are using it, like I wanted to go through the Gorilla Mind athletes first, because this is like the most notable, like I guess, because these guys like publish their physiques online all the time, as well as their progression, whereas other people are just kind of like spitting anecdotes at me, which is fine, but it's like having guys you can visually see their progress, it's a bit different, as well as guys I know what dosage they're using, because I'm like literally sending them the bottles myself. So I like know they're actually running it properly and have enough to use it properly to actually get some sort of response out of it if they were to. So the first guy we're going to talk about is Jake Teeter. So he is a Gorilla Mind athlete, and he's only 20 years old, and he competed recently at a men's physique show. He's done a couple actually at this point. He has very good genetics, in my opinion, has a lot of potential to go far. And I've been keeping tabs on his progress. He's currently lean bulking around 3,000 calories, and he's currently 181 pounds, still very lean. Obviously, he's coming off of a competition. He has very good genetics, in my opinion. So this was a good, representation of what you can, like just what somebody with like reasonably good genetics is going to get out of it. And so I've been asking him what his, sort of staying on top of his dose, etc. So if you've been following him, you would have seen it on his story a couple times at this point. So this is him when he posted the Turkesterone when he first got it, first day trying the Turk. And then this was a physique update here. This is Gorilla Mode sponsored pump. He's got 2 scoops of nitric, 1 scoop of Mode. Quite the combination there. Quite the fucking fat dose of L-citrulline, my friend. So anyways, first, just going through our thread. Okay, so this is my conversation with Jake Teeter. So I said, hey bro, we sent you 3 bottles of Turkesterone, right? Are you planning on giving it a try? He said, yeah, I'm running 1 in the morning, 1 at night. I've been getting ridiculous fucking pumps. I started 4 days ago, the natural PED. So I said, keep me posted. You should start a log on YouTube, because if it works, people, obviously in real time seeing progress and actually logging it, start to finish. If we were going to restock it, would be good for marketing for us. And in addition to that, it's just like a transparent look into actually what's going on with it and if it's fucking doing anything to begin with. So at this point, we always send the athletes like one of like whatever the new product is, we'll send them one. And obviously with Turkesterone, it's a bit unique in that, well, first of all, it's expensive as fuck. So we're only going to send like a whole bunch to somebody who's going to log it properly. Because a lot of it, some people just don't even want to run it. It's like it's not sketchy, but it's like, it's a bit sketchy, I guess. It's an ecdy steroid, it's a bit unknown. So I was basically just asking people like who's actually going to log it and run it properly, and then sending it to those people. So he had one bottle, because all the athletes, they get they get the product like when it comes out for the first time. Wanted to know if he wanted to log it properly. He did. Little did I know, he'd already started taking it from the first bottle. So we'd sent him 3 more so we could actually take like a reasonable dose for a reasonable duration of time to actually see if it does anything. So I was like, okay, sick. So he's gonna actually try it properly. So he was only taking 1 in the morning and 1 at night. Started it 4 days ago. Now again, he was just like stage lean. So obviously you're going to rebound a decent amount, and like that's expected. So I'm not really like taking this as a huge indicator of anything. And above and beyond that too, he takes Gorilla Mode and Gorilla Mode Nitrix. So the pumps are fucking ridiculous on those, obviously, you know? So anyway, and then the next post, he says, I'll definitely keep you updated. And yes, sir, I'm starting to see absolutely crazy gains, and post a log of my supplement stack I'm using. Sounds good, man, I'll up the dose. So at this point, I basically told him to increase his dose because he's only using 1 in the morning and 1 at night, and he could get away with more because he has more bottles coming. So he has enough to actually run a normal, like an actual good dose for like a full cycle. So I said, keep me posted. He said, you got it. And he messaged me back a handful of days later. He said, he's definitely working. Strength is going up while in a surplus right now. Muscle fullness is absolutely insane. I've been taking 6 pills a day currently, and I've been for a week. Do I need to email Gorilla to get more? And then I was like, oh shit, he needs more now. So I sent another 2. He says, okay. And then I said, this was literally the day of filming, so I could get like a more recent update to make sure things are actually progressing. I said, any updates? He's going well still. Yes, sir, going great. Weight is going up, and I'm still staying relatively lean. So anyway, that's one anecdote to note. Oh wait, do I have another message here? Okay, I said, he said, still taking 6 caps a day. I said, how about strength? How much weight have you gained since starting? Has your diet basically been the same? Strength is going up for sure. I did 100 on incline for 3 sets, 12, 10, and 8 each arm dumbbells. And yes, sir, added an additional 300 calories this week. So anyways, that is Jake Teeter. He has a very good physique. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes in the future. Now we're going to move on to Lexx. So Lexx Little, a lot of you guys probably have seen him before. And he is preparing for a powerlifting meet that I've been overseeing his progress. I'm not his powerlifting coach or anything, but I've been like, you know, keeping tabs on his supplement intake to make sure he's not, you know, accidentally taking anything banned by WADA or anything like that. Cause some of the shit, by the way, if you have like PEA analogs in your pre-workout or something, like you might get popped by accident for PEA and its derivatives / analogs. So a lot of pre-workouts, even the ones that are like straight edge, are like probably off the table for you. So anyways, he was taking the Turkesterone. So I sort of have been working alongside with him on that to see how that works for him, because he's very, very good genetics and very, very strong. So I wanted to see, this is a great opportunity to figure out what a guy who's like, basically, he's been plateaued for a while on certain lifts, certain things in the gym, and just being able to see if it busts him through a plateau is interesting, because he's actually preparing for a meet where it's like literally your performance metrics determine like how good you fucking do. So is this gonna improve your performance at all? And you're like strictly focusing on numbers. So this was going to be a very indicative sign if it's useful or completely useless. So anyways, this is our text conversation. He said, hey, do you think the Turk would be working at all by now? And I was like, what dose are you on? How many days? He said he's been using 4 a day, and I've been doing it for a little over a week. It took 5 today. So this was back at November 25th, I believe. And I said after a week, I think it's safe to say it's probably working. There are pretty much like no oral agents that really have half-lives significantly longer than that span. Like nothing even close to where it wouldn't be like doing some fucking shit. So he said, I feel like I don't know if I keep PRing because strictly my coach is tapering me or both. And I said, ramp up to 6 per day, split into as many administrations per day as possible due to unknown half-life. Because it's like, we don't fucking know what it is. So I said, because what's weird, he said, because what's weird is how I'm not gaining any weight, but consistently am going up in weight. So like strength. And I was like, yeah, it's because it's clean gains and it won't bloat you. And the reason it won't bloat you is because it is not even though it activates the estrogen receptor, it does not have the same like mineral retentive properties as compounds that are substrates for aromatase that have a lot of peripheral activity with other receptors, like with the mineral corticoid receptors, etc. So it's not going to drive like significant bloating like an orally active, Dianabol or something like that. Anyways, so he said, I literally did 500 for 3 today with ease. No, I mean, like I'm not gaining weight. That would translate to strength output I've been having. I'm not eating enough. Some days I don't eat shit. Then the next day I PR. And I was like, getting kind of excited at the time. I was like, well, that's a good sign. It's probably doing something if you're suddenly surprising yourself. He says, which never happens. Yeah. And I was like, good sign for sure. Keep me fucking posted, dude. I literally did, did I say this already? I literally did 500 for 3 today with ease, and I barely ate the other day. And I said, we'll have another 2,500 bottles more in a week or two. Cause like at this point, I was like, this shit's fucking unreal potentially. So like, obviously we're gonna get more. So, I started working with my manufacturer immediately after I got these. I was like, well, we need like more sample size to actually determine if it's useless or not. But like, this is enough for me to be like, this is worth exploring further and worth another batch for sure. So anyways, at that point I had enough feedback to be like, yeah, I gotta order more. And he was like, let's see. So this is the squat PR that he mentioned. Okay. So this is the video, I think, of that clip he sent me. So that was, November 24th. So anyways, the comments are, it's funny because a lot of these comments are like, do you think it's the Turkesterone if you're still taking it? And a bunch of his other older videos, he's basically went on like a string of PRs after starting it, and apparently been plateaued for a while up until coincidentally he started it, and then all of a sudden he started PRing and having better strength output relative than what he should have for his, diet. This guy has a very tightly controlled regimen where he can like tell if something is like making somewhat of a difference. So that was obviously promising to me. So then I was like, fucking house, dude, we should get you tested on purpose for marketing material. So what I thought of that would be a fun and sick idea, this, in my opinion, this is when I did the video, I think this was close to when I did the video on Thurston about the, like YADA, the YouTube Anti-Doping Association. So I would basically like, you'd get entered into this pool where you could be like randomly drug tested, and you'd be in this like pool of athletes who's really like, like YouTubers, fitness influencers, etc., who otherwise would profit off being a fake natural. And I would basically employ like agents to like go around the world, or me personally, and like drop in on people and fucking drug test them, send the samples to a lab, which I may have some connections to, and get some drug tests done and see who's faking it and not. So I was like, I thought this would be interesting to get Lexx, if he gets, tested at the meet, do like some follow-up blood work, and show like a comprehensive outline of like where he's at with his hormone profile, to kind of like, sort of like the Thomas DeLauer video I did, where I kind of like dissected his shit, sort of like that. I thought that would make a very good video. I'm not sure if that's happening yet at the time of recording this, because I don't really want to tell the kid like, you just like finish your meat and you whatever, like go fucking draw blood out of your arm like right now, and don't like celebrate or do anything fun, like go to a lab right now and like pull blood and record it. So I don't know if that's gonna happen yet. And then basically the conversation was just about the YADA shit, and then I was like exciting, and I was like, start vlogging, because Lexx needs to post more, in my opinion. He's getting better at it, obviously. Now, lately, he's committed to 2 a week posting, which is awesome to see. And then he sent me this, and he basically showed these the clips from his Instagram. And he said all those videos are PRs on Turkesterone. I was like, that's fucking great, because if this shit actually does something, then I'm happy I didn't just spend way too much money on it. And then people who bought it did not waste their money on it either, obviously. So at that point, I was like, fairly confident this was worth exploring further, obviously. Now, the next anecdote is from Jacob Shalvey. So this is another 20-year-old Gorilla Mind athlete, and he has a pretty fucking solid physique too. This is what he looks like as of recent, and this is what he looked like close to his men's physique show he did. Very good muscle insertions, and got a fucking nice hanging chest there, good abs, very good like fitness look, obviously, like very like marketable, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, like a very good physique for his age, and a Gorilla Mind athlete. So obviously, I'm biased to these guys to some degree. But anyways, I wanted his feedback because he had been running the Turkesterone too. We sent him a bunch, and his was less impressive than, Lexx and Jake. But, not everyone's gonna, even with actual anabolics, like some people get fuck all from certain compounds. Some people will take literally an antibiotic. Why did I say it like that? Antibiotic. And it will not do anything for them. They might need another antibiotic to get the job done. Like, pharmacology does not agree the same with everyone. So I wouldn't write it off, you know, but this is an example, like, transparently, of some people aren't getting a whole lot out of it. Some people are getting more out of it. So, you know, maybe you're a good responder, maybe you're not. Like, some people don't even respond to fucking gear, so you never know. So anyways, Jacob was like, I was like, any updates on the Turkesterone? Going well. This is before I recorded the video, so I wanted all the feedback I could get, especially from the Gorilla Mind athletes, because they're the ones who are logging, like, the most aggressively, because they literally have like free bottles of the shit I'm sending them. So he said body composition is improving certainly, which I was like, okay, well, that's a good sign. Regarding strength, haven't noticed anything notable / significant. So, and I said, are you in a deficit, maintenance, and surplus? How many have you been having per day? Have you been spreading them out? 2 in the morning, 2 at night, working up to 3 in the morning, 3 at night. And like, that is the dose that I am using, is the 3 morning, 3 night. Well, it's not actually morning and night, because I'm splitting them up way more frequently than that. I'm having it more like 1 every like fucking couple hours here, because I don't know what the half-life is, and why not have more steady blood serum concentrations, right? So he said maintenance / deficit, mostly a recomp, I guess a slight deficit, but I'm always around this weight. Had a fairly substantial post-show rebound of 200-ish pounds. And I was like, would you ever expect strength gains in a deficit though, where you're at with your training? He said, now weighing 185 and have kept all these same strength numbers. So I was like, okay, so you're retaining strength while recomping, just trying to assess how much the stuff actually helped. He said, correct. And he said he doesn't know if he can accredit it to the Turkesterone or not. I basically told him to spread out his dose more. And he said, too many moving parts post-contest, so he doesn't really know what's going on. Feels like his body composition is improving a ton for doing minimal hypertrophy style workouts. And I was like, okay, well, you know, it's better than fucking nothing, obviously, but that's notable. Now, moving on to the other reviews I've got. I saved a decent amount of them because I did put out a story somewhat recently about, like, I was saying, like, I'm using it, I'm sort of like waiting for guinea pig feedback and shit. And I had a decent amount of people DM me. I haven't had anyone actually send me one anecdote saying it absolutely did nothing for me. I'm sure there are going to be some. I'm sure there'll be some in the comment section of this video too, because it's going to be more of like a, I don't know, what do you call it? Like a cumulative, what's the fucking word where you're like collecting shit? Like a fucking collaborative, like, collection of reviews from people who've actually got to try it at this point. This was from Sush, and he basically posted a story. I thought I would save it just for shits and giggles. He said, a real conversation I just had. I think the Turkesterone is working. James was like, why is that? And then he was like, fucking look at me, bro. And looking better than he ever has in his life. Now, notably, Sush is on 200 mgs a test, and he has been for a while though. So it's like the Turk is stacked on top, and he did seem to have some noticeable body composition changes, but how much, like, it's very difficult to attribute somebody this new to sauce to anything selective to this. So, and for him in particular, the upcoming bulk phase is going to involve nandrolone decanoate, which from what I have seen seems to have potentially affinity for ERB, which is the same receptor that turkesterone, ecdysterone, these ecdysteroids drive their effects through. Like, basically, if you're going to have a ER beta agonist, ideally you would not have one competing with your actual anabolic. So if we have, like, I don't know, there's actually data like contradicting that nandrolone is an estrogen receptor beta agonist as well. So it may not be problematic to be stacking them on top of each other. It may actually be beneficial, but just for the sake of understanding what is doing what, I told him to remove this, because if we're on 200 test, 200 deca, you want to see what's going on with the deca without, you know, potentially kicking it off of ERB or seeing, like, you know, you want to know what the fuck's going on with your anabolics beforehand, especially if you're new to this stuff. So for him, if nandrolone is going to be interacting with ERB to some significant extent, like some data implies, then we want to see what we can drive through that vector before we look at stacking something like this on top. And frankly, I think this would probably be something you could use more as like a bridge for people who are actually like aggressively going into like super physiological dosage range. Not that he's aggressive at all. That's a very reasonable dose, but I just mean like not staying within physiologic boundaries. So anyways, that was a, you know, a little Sush pick, which is good. This was from another guy. This is like just a string of DMs I got. He said, hey man, just thought I'd reach out since everyone else seems to be. I'm also a guinea pig. I'm a natural. I've been tracking my weight as well. I've noticed considerable increases in my strength in a relatively short time, as well as better recovery from intense workouts. I'm currently in a surplus, but I've been eating the same amount of calories for the last month and a half and just started taking the Turkesterone 2 weeks ago. So obviously promising. And I was like, hell yeah, thanks, dude. Next guy, let's see, he said, I'm a Turk guinea pig trying 3 capsules a day as a natural. That's not even really a high dose either, 1500 mgs. It's like, like low, I would say. 2 weeks in as we speak, I'm tracking my weight and strength levels the whole way. Let me know if there's anything else I could do to improve the process, and I'd be happy to share my data with you once I'm further along in the process. Definitely think it's working though. I've made very good progress in just 2 weeks so far. I'm definitely buying more. I'm only running 3 capsules because I didn't buy enough to do more in my target cycle of 6 weeks. And I was like, that's pretty low dose, like I just said, so that's promising. Let's see, next one. He said, definitely restock it. And I was like, I think this was, I don't even know what the fuck I said here. Oh, I think this was like me responding to somebody who asked if it was gonna be in stock or something. I can't even really read my own fucking DM because it's so small here. But anyways, he said restock it. I was like, hopefully 2 bottles is enough to make a comparison because I think, okay. And he said, when are you restocking Turkesterone? I want to experiment. I said a couple weeks from now will be the last batch unless we get a significant amount of positive feedback. The guinea pigs are in full force right now. So yeah, anyway. So we only had 2 bottles to use. I can't prove it's been the Turkesterone, but last 2 weeks, my strength has noticeably gone up and my shoulders seem bigger. I've been taking 2 pills in the morning and 2 at night. So it's promising, obviously. Okay, and then here, I don't know, bro, but that Turkesterone is making me bigger than I have ever been. So if you put out more out there, I'm definitely copying. I said, great to hear, man. We shall see, because that was like pretty early on in the feedback at that time. So I was still collecting guinea pig data at the time. This was another one. This was actually on RX Muscle's video, and I had a couple of people screenshot me the reviews in that section, which was nice to see because frankly, Dave's RX Muscle deep dive into Turkesterone was fucking horrible. The guy didn't watch my video whatsoever and just took a picture of our bottle, put it in his thumbnail, pretended he researched about it and didn't actually look into it whatsoever. And then like, you could tell he had no idea what it was because he said, it seems like the newest thing and all these companies are hyping it up and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, who? Like, who the fuck is hyping this up? I've seen like one other company that actually promotes this, and I've never seen anybody complex it either. So like, I'm wondering like who, like, it's almost like the people who, the influencers who are like,
oh, you guys were asking me about this.
But it's like no one fucking asked them. You know what I mean? It was like that,
There's so much hype in the fucking community, in the industry right now. This is the newest hyped up ingredient. Buy Testalize.
It's like, okay, fucking guy. Okay, dude. What's that supplement again that's going to stop hair loss with saw palmetto? Please tell me. So anyways, Nick D. Petro. To be honest, this stuff works great. Gain muscle with no side effects, but just take my word as a grain of salt. Beta Destiny. I've been using it double dose twice per day. I've been in a calorie deficit in a cutting phase. I've noticed I've gained 2 pounds of mass in the last 3 weeks. Not 100% saying it works, but I've been controlling every single factor in my cut from macros, caloric intake, cardio. The only factor that changed was Turkesterone, though I haven't noticed any other factors besides that. I've also used Dave's Testalize, which I had only one benefit from, and that was explosive diarrhea, lol. But funny how he brings up the Roan in Turkesterone as a tricky market scheme, but has a product called Testalize, lol. Sorry, that was a comment on his video, not mine. So that's not my, that's not you guys in my channel shitting on him. It's like literally on his channel. So I felt like that was fair to include. So anyways, that is the overall consensus. I've had one person say they didn't notice anything actually, now that I'm recalling, and that was it. I haven't had anybody give me any negative feedback at all. The worst has been like, yeah, like I think it might be working, but it doesn't, it's not significant. And this stuff isn't supposed to be significant. This is like, if we can squeak out another like 2 to 3 pounds of lean mass over like a full, even year, like fuck dude. Like I'm not saying use this for a year, by the way. I'm just saying like, in general, like if you're natural and you can squeak out another like, who knows, dude? Like, I don't know, like it's not gonna be in the double digits of muscle, I will assure you that. But if you can get any additional benefit with like no, additional hair loss, no additional whatever, or you can use this as a compounding element on top of your AAS to get more direct ERB activation and have like a compounding level of anabolism, even for guys on sauce or guys who are bridging, it's very promising, enough so that I am using it. So, and a decent amount of guys at this point seem to think it's promising enough to get order again. So we indeed did order more, and it is now in stock. So if you want to try, or I don't know, continue your experimentation if you're currently in the middle of one, the link will be in the description below, and I'll pin it in the comment. I don't know if it'll blow out as quick as last time, but last time it went out like overnight, which was shocking to me. So hop on it if you're interested. And then if there's, like, I'm still receiving feedback. So if it's still like generally this overwhelmingly positive, we'll order more. And that is kind of how the trend is going to go until I start getting like overwhelmingly negative feedback to the point where it's like, okay, maybe it's not actually fucking doing anything. Like, you know, we're going to leave it up for experimentation. And so far, so good, dude. So we shall see. So anyways, check it out. Video description below. Pinned comment. Let me know what you guys think. All the reviews of the product are much appreciated because they help me determine if this is actually something worth pursuing or not. And I can't figure it all out on my own, obviously. You know, I can only experiment so much on myself. So thank you guys for that. And thank you for the support of the brand and whatnot. So anyways, that is it. The video is getting kind of long, so I'm going to cut it off here. Please like, subscribe, check out my blog, yada, yada, yada. Instagram, Facebook, all the stuff. Follow me on them, you know, help diversify the platform, blah, 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 blah. Thank you guys for watching. Talk to you soon.